Okay.
So now we can have the conversation with Brother Bill Cobbs. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage. The amazing, the theologic, the what is it called? What do they call actors? The Steven Spielberg, the theologian, the most amazing, the most theatrical, the most prolific, renowned to the sound of music, Brother Bill Cobbs, ladies and gentlemen.
Mm.
Well, if Steve,
Yes.
You clap it up.
Steven Spielberg is listening, I had nothing to do with that statement.
Well, still Steven Spielberg is a
Nothing to
lot
do
younger than you.
with it.
He was in diapers when you was doing what was the one that in the hood? What was it in the hood? Something in the hood?
Uh, Perhaps was that? Oh goodness! It wasn't the color. Well, no, it wasn't. Well, maybe it was the color money.
He was still in diapers. So we ain't gonna talk about him. We're gonna talk about
Right. Okay,
you
let's talk.
sir.
Well, let's talk about what I'm getting out of this now. How about that?
That's
Oh,
Let's talk
right. That's right.
about
okay.
what I'm hearing here, and is welcome to me, because it's the kind of thing I have to deal with in staying positive and staying active and staying strong. And that is, it sounds, the sum of what I'm hearing from Dr. Chu here, sir, is that as a man thinketh, so is he. Is that's some of a small summation of what you're saying? Is that right?
Yeah, I am a thinker. That's all I'm good for.
Right. Well, well, I want to be an understander. So,
Right.
so
Well, why I have a neck brace and why I have the hair is because these shows in China, which is where it started, Hong Kong, China, Singapore, places like that in Asia, even though I have an English as my first language background, I got an opportunity to speak over there. And this opportunity it grew and grew bigger and bigger because the things I share with people, they can't read them in books. It's research, and unlike being a typical doctor, which is what there was nothing typical about going into medicine back then in 2000. I lost the girl I was dating to 9/11. All right, and she happened to be Chinese. And because my English is a first language and my Chinese is not really a language, I'm somewhat illiterate. I kind of got depressed and fatigued, and the topic of the show happens to be fatigue. But I found a way to figure out how to balance myself by building relationships and building community in Asia, in China. And when Daniel ran into me in Beverly Hills back then, it was already post the effect of China. It was already post all that. And that's how I got to Beverly Hills, because he must be important
No,
because
that's not how you got to Beverly Hills. Don't lie. No, don't lie. You was
now how did I get to
buying
Beverly Hills?
that Cartier. You was buying that Cartier bag and Ferragamo shoes. That's where we met. And I met you at I think it was Meet in Paris in Culver City, and that's where we met for the first time. Now I'm just talking.
Yeah, but exactly. But imagine, how did I get the money to buy those Ferragamo shoes, right, and the Cartier bag?
Right.
I was a poor soul, right? I was a poor soul, and unless, and there wasn't any like Facebook like share and stuff like that. There was nothing, and to get
No, not then.
no, not then. And so it was like, so you're a depressed guy, and but you're working in medicine, you're studying these things, and you're not going to be a normal doctor, because I already got into the medical scientist training program. That's where they teach doctors to think. And there's not very many. There's only 60 of us annually to get paid to go to medical school. I was paid to go there. So that was free. But then I ran into 9/11. I mean, how many people would love to run into 9/11? I don't want to run into 9/11. The Twin Towers coming down.
I don't want to run into 1911.
Yeah, right. Exactly. 911 isn't good either.
Emergency.
That's right. That's right. Well, I ran into that. It changed my life. I was lost in the subway for 7 hours. Now, if they're
Wow.
paying you to go to med school, right, and you're down in the subway for 7 hours, there's something wrong with you. They're like, come explain yourself, right? Explain yourself, sir. Why did you not show up for clinic or something like that? And you're down there, and so you have a hard time explaining yourself. And I chose not to explain myself. I mean, why should I open up my private life of who I was dating and what happened, right? I didn't want to explain myself. But not explaining yourself, though, causes confusion. And people think maybe they got a bill of goods that wasn't the same bill of goods. Well, China knew that because I was very open, right? I was very open. Now, to communicate with you guys, I can just communicate from my heart directly. But if I had to communicate in Chinese, I got to convert what I'm about to say in English into Chinese, and then say it all at the speed of light so that it doesn't come out. So it's not going to be a speed of light. It's going to be a speed of sound. So it'll be a little delay, but you won't quite notice it because they teach us to speak slower. So I'm converting really fast and saying these things, and it attracted public attention on a radio show that went kind of viral, and we talked about stuff. And at the time I was working on the brain. Eventually I worked on the skin and beauty. And that's what brought me to Beverly Hills, because that's what people are about out there. Right. And so they want the beauty. And, I run into Daniel. I run into many characters.
Transferring fat, all that good stuff.
Oh, yeah. All that good stuff.
Fat, getting the butt,
but then
everything, man.
Yeah. But then the great thing was like spreading the Nile. The great thing was I was a Christian when I was 17, saved at a Billy Graham crusade. And before that I was Catholic, so it wasn't too far from the communication lines. Well, what happened was, God works in funny ways. COVID would lead to this whole online stuff that we all know about, basically starting all up again. After 20 years of being in Asia, it started up again, and it went crazy again this time, except this time I'm the same guy, older, 20 years older. All these people know me. And then I have a family. I can talk about kids. And I also have in the United States that TED Talk called Inventing Happiness, which is my second one. Because my first one, I didn't do very well. I only have 7,000 views. I was talking about an outer space material called graphene. And how that graphene stuff with outer space happens to be very popular now, because there's a guy, his name is Elon Musk, who happens to want to bring us to outer space, and there's a couple other people wanting to do that. And so it's very timely. In other words, what it is, it's timely. And this brace that Ebony was asking me when we, on the other thing that was featured, was why I have a brace and why I have this hair on, is because what I'm about to say may cause a little neck tension, and it may cause a little bit of, you need to have a hard hat, except we want to be entertaining. So we put this thing, and I called myself on May 19th, 2021. I told people to go away. I'm Dr. Crazy. I'm crazy. What I'm about to tell you is crazy. And this show grew. It doubled in size, and people shared it because what I told them was some crazy stuff. And tonight I get to say it in English. And I've been immunized. How I've been immunized is I watched The Ultimate Life and The Ultimate Gift by Bill Cobbs 2 weeks ago. Remember when we tried it and I said, I watched your movie, the movie you were in, just to get to know a little bit about you. And I had kids, so we were watching together. So the scary movies I didn't watch with them. So I watched these two. And they love scary movies too. So next time we're going to watch those. But the whole thing is that, is everything we see everything we should believe? Or is there other things beyond that we can see? It's not that maybe we're not looking in the right place. Maybe we should listen to other people who are older, tell us that when you get older, some of the things you've done in the past may start affecting you, right? Because Bill is older than us and he's seen some things. And I wish they would tell me when you get older that, like for me, I'm wearing nearsighted. I can't see near. So what happens is they told me that, you when you read, it's going to be blurry too. You'll need reading glasses. I said, why didn't you tell me when I was 5? I would have taken care of my eyes. I would have had more blueberries and done other things, antioxidants. Oh, you wouldn't have listened. You made an assumption. Maybe I would. Well, why don't you just tell me anyway? They don't tell you everything. So I'm about to tell you guys something about fatigue, which is if you have fatigue, and I'm going to read off some of the notes that people have written to me, and I'm going to read them in English. It says, if I don't get a diagnosis from my doctor, I didn't get my treatment. So no diagnosis, no treatment. That's perhaps tonight, as people listen to this, you may have experienced that. Other people have talked about, I'm just managing, but I'm not thriving. That may be. Some of us have gone through that too. Another one is, I feel like crap. Someone wrote that to me too. And then another person wrote, I feel sick, but my doctor says I am normal. Okay. Some people have written that they have brain fog. They can't think right. And other people said, I have a broken brain. It's just not right. I don't feel. And then they wrote me that, is there a silver bullet? Is there a silver bullet? Now, we talk about sports all the time. If you get more shots, you make more shots, there's a cost that we don't account for. When we try to make more shots, there's a cost to those shots. But if we get a special where we got shots on goal, where you're standing there, there's some penalty and you get to shot on goal, wouldn't you want to have more shots on goal? And if you could have a silver bullet with the shots on goal, then that would be so much more efficient. So tonight we're talking about, and this whole premise of this show is about how to reduce the friction. I could call it how to achieve success. That's been overused. How do we reduce the friction amongst us, between us as brothers? When it's time to go, all right, how do we know which one of us is going to go? Well, how do we multiply ourselves so that there's not just 3 of us? If there were 3 million of us, then not all of us will all go. And we got to keep that message of community. If H1N1, which was the thing before, which I worked on, didn't tell us enough, then COVID, hopefully this time, taught us that we better stick together. Because remember when it happened, and we're still in COVID, but when it happened, you couldn't communicate with people in your community. You had no idea what was going on. And thankfully, we might be coming out of this year, right? It looks like it. But what did we learn? Now, so I'm reading you guys messages from real people who have written this, and I'm reading you them, and it says, I am pregnant, but I am miserable. I am pregnant. Congratulations, you're pregnant. But imagine if the next phrase that follows, I am miserable, right? But I am miserable.
So and then everything before but went out the door.
That's right.
The true quote of what you just said is, I'm miserable. Miserable. What is that? Miserable, right?
Yeah. What is the miserable? You really want to know now.
Pregnant,
right.
Not eating
now,
right.
Because,
So
exactly. Now, the next thing that the real person here says, and I have a GI problem, gastrointestinal problem, because of where I stand. People come to me and they have it's like a storyline, and I have a gastrointestinal problem, and then period, and then the next sentence is, I fart a lot, but my farts don't come out. Now, if you're pregnant, there's not a lot of room. And if you have to pass gas and it's not coming out, that's a problem. It hurts. But then can you find someone to listen to you, right? Can you find someone to listen to you when you want to say that? I said, you can tell me as much as you need to tell me about this, because I will take your situation and I will put a magnifying glass on it. That's what I do. I put a magnifying glass on it and I said, that's not a simple problem. We could poo-poo the idea. We could say, go take something that some Imodium or something, whatever it may be.
Mylanta, some Imodium, Mylanta, all of that. All that stuff.
But because of the desire to find out, right, these details, and here's another one, right? I'm at the top of the mountain, but I'm feeling like garbage all these recent days, right? And then I have full-blown panic attacks. Full-blown. I don't want to kill myself or give up. I am just miserable. Now you take that to a doctor, right? And then you tell them this, and they said, there's nothing wrong with you, right? You don't want to kill yourself. That's good. No acute issue. You don't want to give up. So meaning you're trying, right? But then I am just miserable now. Is that a problem? Most people would think, look, misery's everywhere, right? Misery's everywhere. Just suck it up and keep going. But this, if we put a magnifying glass on it, you start seeing that there is something wrong. Take that seriously. It's like, would you do that? It's, if we do that to our lives and we take things seriously, we won't get these big fires in our life. We got to put the small fires out. Got to take it seriously, right? They wrote me, specialists are not helping. Now, then they used a word called, that individual, the patient, supratentorial. And they asked me to decipher what supratentorial means. Supratentorial meant that the people she was talking to, these experts, thought that it's all in their head. Supratentorial is medical speak for it's in your head. And so, it's like,
the layman's word is you're crazy. That's the layman's word.
Yeah, that's right. But the major psychic eval, if they do if then, if it's not this, if it's not that, then it must be, it's in your head, and you got to get a psychic evaluation, and there's these pills that can change how you right your situation, right? So now let me tell you about this. Is there a few individuals that will recognize that maybe their biology is broken? Your biology is broken. What the hell, right? Why is my biology broken? I didn't ask to be born, right? But I'm born, and my biology is now broken. Who can fix me, right? So I'm searching for these 20 years. I've been searching for things, and you know what I found? What I found is I found all these letters. People send me these messages, and then they said, is there some inexpensive healing? There is. And tonight I'm going to share with you guys about the inexpensive healing that I discovered. First of all, you got to have shots on goal. You got to have silver bullets. Stop using bad bullets. Bad situations, try to fix them with too much energy. Stay away from that, right? Now, here's a device that you see in the hospital, right? This is a breathing device. And you put your mouth here, okay? And you blow on this, right? Nothing happens. But if you suck on it, and you see that I was able to get myself up to the 5,000 level. You practice this, all right? And then if you were to combine it with music, like Amazing Grace, right? If you're a believer, you combine it with Amazing Grace, you can actually cause your cells with the vibrato to vibrate and communicate. And you need a lot of energy focused on this. And you probably better put on those AirPods, because you're outside, they're going to think you're crazy, right? They're going to think you're crazy.
Oh, yeah.
But, the fact that I move my thumb, right? If we each out there want to move our thumb, we just move our thumb. But have you talked to your thumb cells and said, I really want to move this, right? In the movies, Bill, early part, you talked about Steven Spielberg. They have done movies, right? They've done movies in Star Wars even, right? And that's a different director, right? And he talked about how you could use the Force. Well, here's the Force, right? You want to move your finger. Can you communicate with this? But can you now do it with music and lyrics that actually have some meaning to you? Now, if you're Christian, right, and Amazing Grace actually has some meaning to you because you've been going to church and you've been reading the Bible and you've been doing Bible study, and you start singing Amazing Grace, but this time focused on your thumb. If your thumb hurts or your liver hurts, let it practice with your thumb, right? And we say, instead of saying Amazing Grace, you should do it a cappella, right? No, nothing in the back, but sing it with vibrato. Oh, and then the lower larynx. Amazing Grace. Vibrate. Use the vibrato, right? How sweet the sound. If you do that, right? And we do that together. It's not about entertainment, right? It doesn't have to sound good. You can go in the shower. You can be at the ocean, right? But you need to communicate with the cells because they actually communicate. How did this thumb move, right? You think it's some unknown force? Is it a wire that's connected? Is it the nerves? There's a lot of cells communicating, and cells communicate to each other. And when you lose that communication, that's when you got rioting cells. And that could be tumor, that could be cancer, that could be some dysfunction that may not get a diagnosis. Therefore, it may not get a treatment. It may be misdiagnosed and give a different treatment that may not be the treatment that works for you. And you may not affect a cure. But imagine the science showing us that our cells communicate with each other. Our cells. Of course it does. When your heart hurts because someone has said something to you and it hurts, what is that going on? It actually is external communication. Damage. Cellular, massive cellular damage that's coming in, right? And by me going into this music world, right? And looking at the medicine of what we can do, that's all free. It's all free. My God, it is free. It is absolutely free, and it costs nothing. You just have to practice this, and you use this device. You can get this on Amazon actually, and you can just get this. This is called a Voldine, right? And it says best, better, and then good. So you want to go good. And you want to hold it up there for a while. You want to keep it held up there, all right? And then that will increase your function. But then you got to utilize that expanded lung capacity, right? Capacity, and you do that vibrato. And you could get someone who's an expert in a singing coach or something like that. But now you're going to apply that, or you can work together at church, and you apply that to the different parts of your body. Could you imagine what would happen if thousands of people tonight would do that? They would get better. They would increase their productivity. It would cost less, right? But isn't this crazy speak, right? Isn't this crazy speak? That's why when you look at people going to church and you say, how come they're still around? Done everything wrong in their life, but they go to church and they sing, they worship, they're better. That is an indication. That's an indication that there's communication. The problem is that if Jesus showed up right now, he did that one time, right? Dr. Funk, he showed up one time, and then what happened, right? His own disciples.
That's right.
His own disciples, right?
That's
He only had 12, right? And he had 4 that followed him, didn't he? And they all wrote differently. Because nowadays when we read it, wait a minute, Matthew, why did you write like that? Why is it that Luke said something different? Especially Luke, right? He likes to speak in poetry. So it's like, what? There's only 4 of you and that happens. There's only 3 of us, right? And then there's Ebony in the background, right? So maybe we could get the communication right? But now we have the internet, and we got all kinds of things. We even have Bitcoin, right? We got crypto, and we could bank everything and have everything tethered properly. But I'm just saying, we're in 2021. Speak to yourself, right? Communicate down there, but learn how to do I have to ask you, slavery. You guys came into this country and there was slavery and it was hardship. And I came in this country because my parents didn't want to deal with what was going on over there. And they said, we don't want to teach you any Chinese, right? Because we don't want you to go over there. And I wanted something different, right? We all wanted something different. But what brings us together is that we all understand Amazing Grace. We understand it differently.
I'm gonna jump in right there real quick.
Yeah.
My mentor, and I know this guy, his name is Berry Gordy.
Yeah.
He was the founder of Motown.
Yes.
Oh.
Okay. In slavery times, back when it was segregation, when they did the segregation, they did desegregation. Motown was the ones who actually blurred the lines in music at the events. And you can look in the movies, you'll see this. At the events, and Mr. Cobb knows what I'm talking about. He'll probably, if he can hear me. They would play songs, and both sides of the line were dancing their butts off, right? And eventually some people got radical when they moved the line, and they merged into each other. But it was all through music. Now, when the music ended, they went their separate ways. But in the house of music, they were all together. It was crazy. They blurred the lines. They were the ones who actually, how can I say, assisted in the integration of ethnicity, of coming together. Music speaks to a heart, speaks to a soul, speaks to the mind, speaks to the spirit. That's why people go to church, because they want to be filled with that feeling, that endorphin in the brain. They want that endorphin to pop and say, okay, I had a great day. Or they feel rested, or they feel revived, regenerated, and music speaks. you know, and the words that, and you know, when you put a great song together, and it's very simple to put a great song together, the words have to be intentful. It can't be just, you know, pass by words. You know, it has to be intentful, and those words resonate through the years.
Mm.
Motown, you could do the ends of Tanzania, and somebody's gonna know Motown. You could go to
You know,
the
they
ends, you
measured
could go to
this,
the top of
Dr. Funk.
Antarctica, and
They
somebody knows Motown.
measured using MRIs. They used the MRI and measured the brain wave, the brain response, and they also used EEG because we have that technology. What happens when someone sings, right?
Right.
Right. And this was 10 plus years ago when I saw the data, and I was in the laboratory seeing this. Is that you could actually stimulate particular parts of the brain by doing certain things or coming up with imagery, right? So I knew that, but I didn't know about the vibrato. I didn't know about the breathing techniques until now, all right? Until recently. And then because of our platforms, see, these platforms are just platforms. There's platforms everywhere. But the fact that we come together, I mean, I would love to hear, Bill Cobbs, you sing Amazing Grace. It doesn't have to sound great. It doesn't have to sound perfect. It's not about the perfection of it's not entertainment. It's about healing. And, you know, we put together this healing. The words are already there. It's Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Why are you a wretch? You know why? This is about to give you guys whiplash too. It's like the food is poisoned. The food is poisoned. In order to make cheap food, we've had to use pesticides so that the insects don't eat our food. But when good souls, and they're young, and they're eating these pesticides into their system, this is medically established now, they have an increased intensity to riot, to listen, to not listen, and to also to hit somebody, and to be angrier. And so that, and it's called endocrine disrupting compounds, by the way, if you want to have the Google world to look for it. You know, you have these endocrine disrupting compounds that originate from pesticides, from insecticides. It doesn't kill you, but it damages your cellular communication. And now your cells will not listen to your body. So what happens is you form some this is DYS, autonomia potentials, is that your central nervous system, what you're controlling here, and then what you're responding on the periphery doesn't listen to you. So you may have heard it as twitching. Your eyes may have twitched before. You know, you may have a muscle twitch before.
Heartburn.
Oh yeah, and then you might have, if you have a twitching. What happens if you twitch in your stomach? Your digestion's not so good, right? Not so good. And sometimes it's not just those kind of twitchings. It forms ulcers. Now, have you ever had an ulcer in your mouth and you said, like, what? How did I get that? Right? You know, did I bite now you could bite yourself and cause a physical ulcer, but sometimes it could just show up, right? Just show up. And you start really wondering, and you have nobody to talk to because you asked about these things and they say, well, you know, that's just how it is. Nothing is how it is. It's not supposed to be like that, right? But then I had to travel and I had to be one of our nation's thinkers, right? I was funded by some of these people that you see on television nowadays on the virus, right? Funded by them. And I had to look into it, but I did not. I did one thing that was wrong, but at the same time, it was right. It was so right because Romans 8:31, right? I don't like to say if God is with us because we're Christians. God is with us. God is with us. Then who can be against us? Not even ourselves. Not even, and that's the scariest part, right? Not even ourselves. So when I left that establishment, I had an opportunity to overlay onto MD and PhD natural medicine. But then when I went to China, when I went to Hong Kong, because I'm illiterate and because I couldn't see, I saw the word music written. And someone explained to me, do you know in the characters of music contains the word medicine? What the hell? Really? You serious? The character medicine contains the character music, or and vice versa and all that stuff. It's interrelated. How did they know that? When was this word written? Thousands of years ago, you came up with the character, right? that's a sign. That's a sign. And then who you share this with, right? And I had kept this in there. And because I have the designation, right? Because if you're not going to see patients that much, right? Seen a lot of patients, but if I'm not going to see that all the time, and I highly recommend watching the Dr. Mew interview, because he discloses that his life he's only two people work on this teeth straightening thing naturally. He's become famous because his own last name became a verb. Cobbs, Funk, Chew.
Well, I think Dr. Cobbs got some pretty straight teeth. I don't think he's got no problem with his teeth.
Well, Dr. Mew became his technique of helping to change the mouth, right? The physical. His last name, they named him Mewing, Mewing. If your name became a gerund, right, which is adding an ing to a noun, right, that we verbalized you'd be Dr. Funking, and this is Bill Cobbsing, and I would be Dr. Chewing, right? So and so he became Dr. Mewing, and Dr. Mewing made it on the New York Times, right? His father was basically called a charlatan and a quack, but then he went in dentistry to vindicate him. This is, he had 3 generations of dentistry, and he went to vindicate him. And now he's come up with this device, and people have been able to change their facial structures just by going on Amazon doing that. Now, he told me, because he told me on a heart-to-heart show like this, right? He told me that he would have been better off selling everything he had and just being a businessman. This is a doctor that saves lives, a dentist, right, who has all these millions of viewers, who says this, right, only a few days ago. He says, I got a lot to learn from you. And why is he saying he's got to learn from me? Because I escaped. I didn't do this. And then I started going into these areas where no one would touch.
He was fatigued.
He was fatigued. That's right.
He was fatigued.
He is fatigued. He's only a few years older than me.
He's fatigued, yeah.
And I asked him, because he's in England, right? I asked him, I said, I said to him, and I'm about to do the same thing for us tonight, right? Because I invented something. I'm about to show you what I invented, right? Hold on one second. Let me grab what I invented here. Because I showed it to him. It's not fair to not show it to the audience right here. This is what I invented, all right? This is called graphene. This is graphene. Now, you can see it's transparent. It's conductive, more conductive than copper, and stronger than diamond. And this is graphene. And we can't open it because otherwise you contaminate. I'm going to tell you something that's a fact. Graphene, when it touches graphene, becomes graphite, and it's powerless. This is a fact. This is the stuff that will lead us to outer space. This is stuff that you go like Wikipedia. For those who want to type it in, it's graphene, graphene. Now, I got a lot of funding. The world put about $1 trillion towards this thing, right? About $1 trillion. Multiple governments put it into this. The real story, not science fiction. This is science. Now, here's a doctor, Dr. Mew, why I said, you're healing people. Why is it that you didn't get a seat you didn't get knighted? You should be knighted. Right? You should be at the Queen's table, Queen of England, because he's in the United Kingdom, right? Why is it that I had to get Singapore? This is where it happened, right? I had to get Singapore to fund us because initially in the United States of America, even though I'm American, no one wanted to listen to this. This is our defense system. Now, of course, long story short, it did eventually get funded, and I did get a lot of inventions out of, and there's a whole TED talk around this that nobody watches, right? It's about making plastic stronger, right? About doing that. But this is transparent. It's real. It's stronger than diamond. But if it touches each other, it turns to graphite. It sounds like a fairy tale, like the other way, right? Cinderella, graphene touching itself becomes graphite. We burnt so much money just trying to prove that that's wrong. How do we already know, but how come you mix the graphene with the graphene again and touch each other? We kept burning lots of money. It's not just me. We're tens of thousands of scientists found this, but God put this here. That's why we have the graphite, because and graphite was in pencils. That's how we wrote. We were making graphene all the time when we were writing, to get us off the planet. Holy smokes, we got this now. We need people like Dr. Mew and these exceptional, super extraordinary people like you, Dr. Funk, right? We need people like Bill Cobbs, right? Because until we get off the planet and we find that there's another planet to go to, we gotta keep things good here. Fatigued people don't just sit and be fatigued. It's infectious. and starts affecting things. And when you say things verbally, if we're talking to ourselves and we know now that it can heal, imagine if someone said something nasty to us. Doesn't that kill? Doesn't that poison? Doesn't that cause like disruption?
Right.
Yeah. Well, now the science proves it. The science proves it, and that's why this whole fatigue thing. And I wrote down all these measures, these messages. These are real people who wrote. So severe cognitive problems, chronic fatigue syndrome. You know, when they call it a syndrome, it's because they don't understand it. Otherwise, it'd be called a disease. And when it's a syndrome, that means your insurance won't cover it. And if your insurance doesn't cover it, and you're paying all this insurance, that means that you won't get an answer. And then if you keep complaining about it, then that's when you need a psychic eval. So that is the situation we're dealing with until we go to, like, let me tell you this. In the future, when we go to outer space, a lot of the medicines that cause side effects, So it might be, and I'll go on record saying this, it might be that if you cause more than one side effect, you don't qualify as being a medicine. It's too damaging, right? It's got to be, it doesn't qualify as space medicine, right? Because space medicine, which is the future medicine, we can't have that. Can't have that. But singing, and because of where we are, and tonight, right, it's free. It's probably going to be one of those big things. They'll probably have a real nice, attractive scientific name for it, right? We don't call it singing to yourself. That's too low grade, right? But it works.
Right.
It works. So, Bill, can you chime in? About the phrase I once was lost, but now I'm found. Well, I was blind, but now I see, right? What does that do when you say that to yourselves? Can you tell me? How do you feel?
Well, it enlightens me to the positive aspects of my spirit, of my soul.
Yeah.
It implies that I've been healed of those things that were sick in me, those beliefs that I had that allowed me to do something as brutal as slavery, as to riding a ship where you beat people and pile them up on one another. Yeah, that's.
Now wait, Bill. Let me ask you a question. I hate to cut you off. What year were you born?
Me, Bill?
No,
1934.
Bill, Mr. Cobbs. 1944.
Yes,
1944. There was still
34.
segregation, right?
1934. He said 34.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, 34.
Wow.
So you went through all the everything. You went through everything.
Well, I was blessed. I was awake and aware of a lot of it. I didn't go through as much of it as I might have. But,
yeah. Isn't that a blessing?
I've been able to be blessed, and I grew up in the North, which was considered.
Wonderful.
It's better to be blessed than to be good. I'll tell you that. It's better to be blessed than to be good.
Well, that's true, isn't it?
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, so I experienced what slavery and discrimination did to people through my father. He grew up in Mississippi, was able to acquire an 8th grade education, was forced to quit school in 8th grade and go to work on his father's farm. My dad had 11 siblings, and so when he came north, he came with aspirations, but not nearly as much confidence as he might have had. So when he said positive things about himself, it was really heartwarming for me to see him feel good about himself, because he'd been taught to feel unworthy.
Right.
That's the whole idea of slavery, and putting us in bondage is making us despise ourselves.
Right.
And isn't it changed nowadays to make people have low esteem, right? Make them feel that way. So it's not It's not the same slavery, but it's been modernized. That darkness has been modernized so that you sign over an employment agreement. You know, that's a type of slavery. And then sometimes you're taught to enslave yourself. You
Yeah,
know, yeah, you're told that that's normal. You know,
Well, it goes through the
exactly.
cycle of the school system, and I tell people this all the
right?
time. The school system is designed pretty much. Well, the prison system and school system go the same, right? So you have
Hmm.
you have something called homeroom, right? That's check-in, right? You have a certain time
Hmm.
that you have to report to school. That's the time they wake
Yeah,
you up, right? You have an hour on lunch. You have an hour in the yard. If you get in a fight, you go to the hall. If you get in a fight, you go to the principal's office. If you kill someone, you go to the hole. If you get in a fight and you hurt somebody, you're expelled, right? So and then you have to go before the principal. They have to go before the board. So many things, right? You have to go to a review to get back to school. They have to go to a board to get probation. It's all written the same way. It's a structure that's bitten down, that's embedded into your system. That you sit in this box, you be quiet, you shut up, you speak when spoken to. If you're a person like me, like you, like Mr. Cobb, that speak out and want to do something to change the rhythm, you're wrong. You're wrong.
Right.
So
You're
then you put
dangerous.
this in you. Then
You're
embed this in you.
dangerous.
Yeah, you're
You're
yeah, you're
dangerous.
dangerous.
Yeah.
You're going
Right.
against the grain.
that's right.
And Mr. Cobb has been against the grain because he would not be sitting in that chair right now, in that big beautiful chair, in that big beautiful house with that beautiful woman. He would be somewhere in a small little house with eating cans, and going paycheck to paycheck, like most people do. So he
Right.
beat the system up in order to be where he is now. And I applaud you. I applaud you, sir, and everything that you've done in your years in being
Right.
here. May God bless
Absolutely.
you with
Yeah.
many, many, many more.
God bless. Yeah, absolutely. It is amazing grace, right? It's the amazing part of the grace. That's why I gotta tell you tonight about staying healthy and how it really works. How it really works. You gotta talk to your cells. You gotta talk to the different parts, and you can't just talk to it. It doesn't listen. You can't just not say anything. There's gotta be sound. There has to be sound vibrations and frequencies because energy travels as waves. And there's no sound that's going to communicate with your cells as much as the sound of your voice. It's not someone else's voice. It's got to be your voice because they all come from you, right? So if someone hurts you, your antidote is so much more powerful because that's someone else's voice. Yeah, it hurts and all that, but if it's your voice that heals, will you make a decision today, to change how you treat yourself by singing powerful songs and music that means something? And that's why being religious, if you understand that, then the gospel music works. If not, you can pick other songs, right? But you've got to find something, right, where it connects. It connects. You can use Moon River, My
So let
Way,
me ask you
other
a
things.
question.
Yeah,
Let me ask Mr. Cobb a question.
yeah.
Mr. Cobb, you ever been to the hospital?
Beg pardon?
Have you ever been hurt really bad? Have you ever been to the hospital
Yes, sure.
where you were sick and you had to be in the bed? Okay. When somebody came into the room, did they not turn on music for you?
They sure did.
They did. Wow.
Oh, certainly,
Or did
certainly.
they not sing you a song? Right? Because it,
Yeah,
it, it healed you. It gave you those happy endorphins. Because it speaks to the soul. Music unlock endorphins and unlock enlightenment into your system. It revives your system. Like this water, the same thing. It's the music. It's a play of music. In the what do you call it? Impacts? What do we call it? Imprints.
Yes, the imprinting. Yes.
It's a musical imprint that has been placed into a bottle that is going to speak to your soul, speak to your system, to regenerate you, to revitalize you, to exuberate everything that's in your system that's supposed to be there, and push out all the negativity. That's why we're having this conversation. Because we're unlocking the secret chord.
Well, let me tell you, a lot of people, I see on the chats, there's a Lavella who's heard my shows in Hong Kong. I've been teaching people how to make something called pectin, right? Pectin is what is found in jams. And pectin, if you were to take 100 apples, right, and you cut it up, remove the core, and cut it up, and then you added a little bit of water just to cover it, and you boiled the thing for an hour and a half to 2 hours, right? What would happen is you let it gravity drip and drain, you'd collect the pectin. And what remains behind, because apples contain quercetin, you can have quercetin in the thing behind it. And I've been teaching people recipes to heal their soul. I haven't told them about the singing because that's you can only tell certain people certain things. I'm not anything like Jesus, so I don't want to be crucified. So what I do is I'm telling people I'm crazy. Only the crazy will listen to this, right? Well, you create the pectin, you drink it. Well, people have been telling each other they feel better. And this is that elixir we're going to create in the United States with you, right? And then from that elixir, we're going to use pumpkins. We're going to use cucumbers. We're going to use beets, right? And they all have different attributes. And when you combine them therapeutically with certain herbs, like, for example, pumpkin can be combined with maca, and it can stimulate core repair, right? Beets when it's when beet pectin is put in the digestive system, these are NIH, National Institute of Health journals that talk about how it can help with colon cancer. All right, now when we start imprinting the water to have that kind of combination, right, what happens is, you know how cheap this is going to be to make everyone better? Now, what we want to do with these shows is don't just be better, be gooder. Be gooder. The fact that you got a chance to listen to this, don't waste it. Pay it forward. If you're listening to this, why was I not speaking this at a show in the United States 20 years ago? Not because of anything, but because it wasn't meant to be. It was only meant to be tonight that this came together. Finally, right? July 1st. We're only 3 days from the Independence Day, right? What does that even mean, Independence Day, right? What does it mean to you, right? When you sing the national anthem and where we stand, we're all together on this. We got to stop drinking water that has no life. That's where it begins. If we're drinking water that's been poisoned, that's one problem. Right. But if the water has no life, what do you mean by has no life? Well, was it imprinted? No. What was it? It was reverse osmosis. Well, we removed stuff. When we do that naturally, it has to flow through from the rainwater down through the mountain, through the rocks, and then it comes through the river and the streams, and there's life, there's fish, there's living systems, and it gets imprinted that way. It takes a while. When you do it in your kitchen, right, and you have our reverse osmosis device or something like that, you just forced it through, and it's not the same. It's not the same. That's why you can't make it like that. You got to make it differently. And that's what we're about to do. You know what will happen? And so in Hong Kong, the group has grown. Every time I give them something from what we're describing as the secret court, some kind of essence from the Garden of Eden, right? If you told me that if I bit into the apple, I would be knowledgeable, but then I'd be eating rotten food, I wouldn't have bitten into the apple. Don't eat the apple. Don't go there. Don't turn against God. But it wasn't shared that way. It was like, here, you have free will. Go eat what you want. Well, yeah, you didn't. I want information. I want the full picture. I have the right to know. Tell me that if I become poisoned, I may not think properly. I may start judging people based on their attributes, their color, their religion, other things like that. That's when you're poisoned. We've been so poisoned. We used to have serial killers, lots of serial killers. Now we have mass murderers, but we have serial killers. They trace it back to the pipes were poisoned with lead and the gas came out. People breathed that in, and it created 20 years of this crazy stuff where people are stalking you and doing that stuff. That's poisoning. So why do we drink cow's milk, mama's milk, human milk, right? Do we drink dog's milk? Dogs drink dog's milk. But what about pig's milk? Why the heck do we not drink pig's milk? What's wrong with pig's milk? See, it's information. Pig semen, I'll tell you, pig semen was used as a biological weapon. Red Riding Hood project. You think that you take that stuff and everything will be wrong with you. And when I say that to people in Chinese, right, when I talked about the pig and the excrements from a pig, Jesus drove all those spirits into the pigs. Why did he choose the pig? He didn't choose the cow and all that. X marks the spot. Why is the Chinese word for music, right, contain medicine in there? Like what? Why are these messages everywhere? Are you looking at the secret? And that's what the secret chord is about. We need to broaden out the terms of fatigue and incorporate everybody in there. And then we got to build community. And that if this is a zombie movie, some of the survivors will kill each other. They'll come in and rob your tent, right? We got to prevent that from happening.
Absolutely.
Can we? We can if we eat better. We got to eat clean. Because once we don't eat clean, then that bent out, the shape stuff, those words, those things start coming into your head, and you start becoming selfish. We got to make it to another planet. I tell people all the time, I don't care if it's Africa that makes it, it's the United States that makes it, whoever makes it, as long as a human makes it onto another planet, we've made it as a species. But if it's not a human that makes it up there, and it's an android, it's a C-3PO, right? if it's a stormtrooper, right? That's not us, right? We gotta make it. And how we're gonna make it? We gotta stick together. Let this situation that we're in become the first indicator that, look, you can do whatever you want, but you can't take it with you. It's the money, you can't take it with you. The hate, you can't take it with you. The love, you can. What you can do is you can build community for the next generation. That's what we can do. And the internet is ripe for this to happen. And it's scattered. It's very fragmented, but we can utilize this message today. And I can give you a healing. You can try this. You can try this at home. You can try all the recipes that we'll be talking about at home. But most people are lazy and they want to, you can sing to yourself right now. If you believe in God, try the Amazing Grace on a particular area of your body. Make sure you use vibrato. Right, got to be vibrato. Right, it's got to be like that, and soon you'll be singing like Elvis. So I wanted to know tonight, can we get like all of us together and sing Amazing Grace, like the first few lines? That would be wonderful.
Absolutely, I'm ready.
All right.
Are you ready? That's great.
Well, let's all sing a piece of it. So I'll sing Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound. And somebody says that saves a wretch like me. Somebody says I once was lost, but now I'm found. Somebody says was blind, but now I see. How about that?
Well,
we're not doing it together. Okay,
I think we should do it together.
Oh, that's great.
But we might all with the broadband. We might not all. Okay, you ready? You count it off, Evan.
1, 2, 3.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I was lost, but now I'm I see. You see me shaking.
The vibration.
Yeah.
That,
you like the vibration? Yeah. I think.
Hey, Bill. I love the voice, man. We need to do something, man. We need to get shaggy with it.
Yeah.
I love the voice, man.
No.
But another great one was "Yes, Jesus Loves Me." You remember that one?
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Oh,
That's
yes,
another
yes,
great
Jesus
song.
loves me.
Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes. Well, my grandmother used to sing that. She used to hold that song. She said, "Yes, Jesus loves me."
Right. Yeah.
The key is listening.
Oh man.
Oh.
What'd you say, Mr. Cobbs?
The key is hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
If you don't hear, then you don't know what to respond to. Even if you sing you still have to hear.
And we have 2 ears to listen, right? They always say we have 2 ears to listen, but you know what? In the cells have more than 2 ears to listen. It can feel the vibrations three-dimensionally. Three-dimensionally. And there was a song that said the hip bone's connected to the, right? to the different bones, right? It's all connected. Don't think for one moment we're not a system. And when we learned in biology that the cells are round, that's wrong. The cells aren't round. It can be, sometimes it's round, but other times it can be squished. Other times it's elongated, right? It's moving. We're not static. We don't just sit there. We keep changing. We're actually changing constantly.
Yes.
And that's why, despite our genetics of what we have as a blueprint, what we do to ourselves, what we do with ourselves. I don't want friends of Dr. Gordon. I want friends with Dr. Gordon. I want you to be with me because if you're not with me, right, then what's the point, right? We're gonna be with each other.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. This was
Well,
awesome.
I think we've gone way over our time. But Ebony, do we have any comments that for Brother Cobb? I know we probably got comments down in there.
There is a couple of comments. Lachey, she probably was laughing while we were singing. Lachey, that was hilarious. She said, "Oh my God, the shades."
Wow.
That was the vibration,
Wonderful.
Lachey. That was the vibration.
Absolutely. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the next thing on Mr. Cobb's menu? What's the next thing on what's the next movie, the next big movie for you, Mr. Cobbs?
He's gonna sleep good tonight, you know? Yeah.
Well, right now I think I'm looking to do a Western movie as a producer, and I have a series relating to a hotel called Hotel Windsor, where there's a gentleman who is asked to bring this hotel back to life, to what it was at one time. And he hires a bunch of women to do it. So it's quite interesting. It's primarily about him and those women, all women, putting things back together. So I think it's timely.
It sounds like Calfia.
Yes, absolutely.
You know Calfia?
No, I don't.
Calfia was the goddess. She was African. That's how we got California. She had 100-woman army. That sounded like Calfia because they'll be putting some nails in some wood, and they'll be picking up some things, man. They're gonna be doing some things in that movie. I can't wait to see it. You always got these great movies. I know you're a big sci-fi buff. So when's your next big sci-fi movie? Because I know you've been working on one for a minute.
Well, actually, nothing in that vein right now. I have, as a matter of fact, Bill Duke's your friend and mine, a very good friend of mine, and I'm trying to work with him. Right now, it's not all subtle, but it looks like it's going to work out pretty well. And we're going to do a Western where we have a black sheriff. And, so
well, you need Amazing Grace sung in it. All three of us can come in there and sing Amazing Grace.
Yeah, it's obvious what that film's going to be about. It's going to be about how does this man become a U.S. Marshal, as a matter of fact. But it's
okay, nice.
So I'm excited about it. It looks like it's going to be something very interesting and something very educational too, in the sense that we have so many. It's like our history in the West, for a lot of people, I think, has been lost. The fact that the word cowboy comes from because the riders and the people who broke the horses and who really did the work with the horses were called boys. We were boys.
Yeah.
So we called us cowboys.
Yeah.
So the very term cowboy implies that. And over time, when we see movies, when we've seen movies and the heroes were like Tom Mix and on and on and on, they were white people. So I grew up starting in 1934 as a little boy, being exposed to a history that implied that white people did everything. And that was important that I go along with that, or I couldn't be controlled, right? So this is a great thing you're talking about here. Yeah, I'm very much concerned with health now because I'm at that point where I want to live twice as long as I have. So
Well, we sending you. You know, we sending you a full kit of everything we have, man. So, including prayers and blessings, man. Affirmations to your health. So, that's a definite.
Absolutely.
That's a definite affirmation right there. That's a definite affirmative action.
listen, I'll send mine right back to you. So
I appreciate you, man.
I hope that's a gift that's well rewarded from your point of view.
Well, yeah, absolutely, without a doubt. We
Yeah.
appreciate you, Mr. Cobbs, and we appreciate you being on this show, man. You really came in. I know you said that you were a little under the weather, but you pulled through, man. You came in. Yeah, and I hope that you got some
Thank
nuggets
you.
from the day from the show. We appreciate
Yeah,
you
it's
as a
all been
guest,
very
man.
much
Our
worthwhile.
first
Thank you,
guest,
Mr. Steve.
our inaugural guest, Mr.
Right.
Bill Cobbs.
That's
Thank
right.
you all. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bonnie, Ebony, you're a great producer.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Cobbs.
Yes, she is.
I'm proud to be part of your first program. Thank you so much.
Yes, we appreciate you so much. And you look amazing.
You
Okay.
do.
Well,
Yes.
look who's talking.
No.
God
Yeah.
bless you all.
God bless you.
God bless you, brother.
God bless
Good
everyone.
blessings, man. Peace and blessings.
Have a great night.
Hang
We'll
out,
be back
Scotty.
next Thursday.
Yes, next Thursday.
Next Thursday we'll be in the
Same
same
time,
place, same time. Just it might be raining, it might be a little dark, but we'll be here. And we'd like to
That's
say thank you
right.
to everybody who came out to listen to our insane conversation. Don't believe nothing we say. Go check it out yourself. He's Dr.
Right.
Strange. I'm Dr. Danger. So we're gonna leave that as it is. And
Right.
and we always have the most amazing, the most beautiful, the most talented, the most amazing producer in the whole wide world. She's got the
Absolutely.
best smile. She's got the she is a woman of
She's from Texas.
how can I say
She's
it?
from Texas.
She is
Yeah.
she is excellent. She
Right.
reaches
I
the
appreciate
tenacity
you
of excellence
guys.
every single time. And we appreciate you, Ebony, and we love you and we appreciate you.
We do.
And
No
send
problem.
Dr. Chu the invoice.
I'm glad to be a part of this platform with you guys. I'm excited about this. So,
Thank you.
all right.
And Lachey,
right.
we appreciate you. Who else was down here?
Lavella was
somebody else
there.
was in here.
Lavella from Hong Kong.
Lavella, yeah, Lavella.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we
Yeah.
appreciate you as well. Thank you for coming and joining us and listening to
Unreal.
our strange and deranged conversation. But don't believe us. Go check it out. Look it up. You got questions, comments, leave it in here. We'll always check back and see if there's
Right.
additional comments because we do have Facebook. I think we have Facebook and Instagram that's chimed in, right? We have
Yeah,
to go back
we
and
have
check those out
Facebook
too. So
and YouTube that's chimed in. And if you all want to have topics that you guys, the audience, are looking for them to discuss, the secret chord show at gmail.com. You can always send us an email there.
That's incredible. You just did what my
Yeah,
other
looking
host
for that.
did in Hong Kong, where she always asks people what topic they want to talk to.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah,
I just think that's a fun thing to
Yeah.
include the community. So
yeah, you guys think the same way. It's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing.
that's funny. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Right.
yeah, you talk. I'm growing a mole. You see my mole on my nose? I
Oh,
have a
no,
mole
we
on my
don't want to
nose.
see your
You
mole.
it? See my mole on my nose is somewhere on there.
Yeah.
I can't see it right now. It might be there. Do you see it? It's
On
covering my
that
makeup,
end, we're
maybe.
going to end
I'm growing a
broadcast.
mole on my nose, and I want to know.
Have a good night,
I want to know
everybody.
what's going on with that mole. How can I?
Right.
Bye.
More on those.
I'm
Good
talking
night.
stuff.
Good
Bye
night.
bye.
Anyway,
Bye bye.